On today's Teddy's Tips, we're going to talk Bulls 76ers. We're going to talk Wizards Jazz. Yeah, there's value. We're going to talk Pacers and Lakers. We're going to talk some Warriors and Nets. We're going to talk some Detroit Pistons basketball. And the angle of the day, Miami and Cleveland. Before this show is through, we're going to do it all in 10 minutes or less. Welcome to Teddy's Tips, Wednesday, the 25th of March. A fast-paced look through the NBA. And boy, guys, I really appreciated all the nice comments yesterday. I tried to do the show with one eye, and we got through it. And there's a lesson to be learned from that, which is you grind. In the NBA, you grind. You pay attention every day. You don't, it doesn't mean that you have to go balls to the wall every day, but you have to pay attention every day. And of course, the clients and I was able to find one winner on yesterday's card. That was all I was looking for. New Orleans plus the points against the Knicks and a nice little 80% NBA heater over the last 5 days. But the point of yesterday's show, besides, look, I'm trying to do this every weekday. And even if I'm a little bit, messed up and I got a bad eye, I'm still going to do it because that's the nature of sports betting. It's not, well, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to jump out, I'm going to jump in, I'm going to jump out. I'm a grinder. And the way that I've seen to make money betting sports in my 28 years in Las Vegas is not jumping in and jumping out. It's grinding every single day. And you try to cut a profit, try to find a winner. And sometimes you got to do that when you're less than 100%. And that's what yesterday was certainly about. Just to recap from Monday's show, yesterday I didn't really have any official plays. I got it done, but we were able to cash with the Wise Guy totals, the two overs, Spurs Heat and OKC Philly as well. And again, neither of you notice these Wise Guy totals. A lot of them are coming fairly close to the number. And that's telling us that in these limited ranges, that there's still some value to find. And to see, all right, well, saying Spurs and Heat got to 227 or whatever. No, that one flew over. The OKC Philly got to 227 and it was bouncing around the number, but got just over it. And that's been fairly commonplace. Angle of the day cashed with the Blazers, no rest, and Brooklyn, no rest. Brooklyn 2-10, ATS now 2-11. With Portland getting the money. And the still value play, well, we had the Dallas Mavericks who lost it overtime to Golden State. We call it a loss because it ended up a loss, but obviously at the end of regulation, there was still value with the Mavs when you lose those games in OT. Does happen, but frustrating. So we can call it a win, you can call it a loss. It lost against the spread, but the concept was there. So it is what it is. Let's talk Wise Guy totals for today on Wednesday. And again, these are the games in which we've seen every night. I'm writing down the numbers, what I call the consensus numbers. And again, it's anywhere between 7, 8, 9 o'clock Pacific. So after most of the games are over, and then we look in the morning, and I go a little bit later to stay away from the head fakes. I don't want to be doing this at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. because you don't see the markets necessarily every move be a true move. You see some false moves, you see some head fakes one way, the limits go up, and they bet it for real the other way. So we go a little bit later, but certainly for today, two games stand out from a Wise Guy total standpoint. What got pounded? Well, we saw Chicago and Philadelphia. Over money has come in on that. That was sitting at 238 last night. I'm seeing 240.5s out there right now. And that has something to do certainly with the return of Paul George to the lineup for Philadelphia today. And potentially Joel Embiid as well, although I'm not convinced that Embiid isn't a guy you want to play over with because he makes Philly's defense better in the low post as well. But Embiid, questionable. George expected to play. The money coming overnight for the over for the Bulls and 76ers. Also, and this one kind of surprised me. And I had to really, because part of my job is to explain why this is happening. All right, here's a line move. Great. Why is it happening? When it comes to Washington, Utah under, and we've seen some Utah under lately. This isn't like only just today that I've seen some money coming for the Jazz under. And again, that total last night for Washington, Utah was 240.5-ish. Now I'm seeing 239s, 238.5s even out there for the Jazz and the Wizards. And when we look at the advanced stats, pace ratings, both these teams have played really fast since the All-Star break, last 15 games or so. But you look at the last 5 games only, Utah's still the number one team in pace in the last 5. But the Washington Wizards down to 13th. So the Wizards under Brian Keefe are finally trying to slow things down just a little bit so they don't get blown out as much. that could be why we've seen the money for the Wizards Jazz under today. Again, not what I expected when it comes to the wise guy totals, but doesn't matter. Got there. All good in that regard. I'm saying it got there, but the money's come for that, and that's the rationale that I've been able to figure out to try to explain the movement for Utah. But it has been coming on Utah pretty consistently of late, some under money. Still value play for today. That's Pacers against the LA Lakers. And we've already seen some Pacers money. There were 11s out there. Now it's mostly down to 10.5s, and even 10s now popping up across the board. Still 10.5s out there for those who shop around. But last game of a long, successful road trip for the Lakers. The winning streak got snapped last time in Detroit. And it's just kind of a win this one and go home kind of game. Don't love this spot for LA. And meanwhile, I said it wrong on yesterday's show. I'm not going to say it over yesterday or the day before. I'm not going to say it wrong on today's show when it comes to Indiana. Because all of a sudden, and again, Indiana has Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith and Pascal Siakam and TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin all back in the rotation. Those are 5 guys that played in the finals last year, 5 guys who contributed in the finals last year, and every one of them has had injury issues this year. Right now, basically, for one of the first times all year, Indiana got all those guys healthy. They played better over the last week, and I would not be surprised. Again, I think there's still value. If you like Indiana plus the points against the Lakers, even at plus 10, they're probably worth a look, even though 11 and 10.5 were still out there. A couple of quick impact injuries to note. I talked about Paul George returning for Philadelphia, and Embiid may come back too tonight. Moses Moody got hurt for Golden State. The Pistons have been thriving without Cade Cunningham. Dennis Jenkins, 30 and 22 the last 2 games, plus 16 assists and 11 boards. If you're looking for a prop today, and I know my props on this show have not been good, but Jenkins over points, Jenkins over PRA is absolutely something worth looking at tonight with Detroit in the Cade Cunningham's not playing here. Jenkins has been certainly stepping up consistently. We'll see if the markets adjust appropriately. But Dennis Jenkins, someone you might want to keep your eye on for the Pistons prop-wise on Wednesday. One more thing to talk about, but it's a good one. Angle of the day. And this one, with the angle of the day, I'm like, okay, I have some basic angles we're looking for, and then we see what else pops up and what else pops up. And let's look and let's iterate. Let's see what we can find. And this one, I just started out with, I don't think the Cavs have been good favorites this year. I know they haven't been good favorites. I'm like, what are the numbers for the Cavs as favorites? Cavs full season as favorites. They have 20 wins and 38 losses. The Cavs, of course, tonight, looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen, the Cavs are 2.5 point favorites at home against Miami. And boy, that number seems short, doesn't it? Well, Cleveland's 20 and 38 full season as favorites. That's 34%. As home favorites, they've been better. 12 and 21. They're 36% as home chalk. They've been really, really bad. Cavs off a win. Ooh, they won last time. 17 and 27 ATS. Just 38% full season. So they've been bad favorites. They've been bad home favorites, and they've been bad off a win. What about the other side of the equation? I know Miami's struggling right now. It's not been a great week or two for the Miami Heat. There's certainly urgency for Miami. They talked a lot about it in the quotes prior to this game. Miami road dog have been pretty good, 15-11, 58% full season road dog. Underdog on any floor, 22 and 14, 61% as an underdog. And while Cleveland off a win, 38% full season, 17 and 27. Miami off a loss. I know they've struggled of late. Nonetheless, Miami off a loss full season, 22 and 11, 67%. That, my friends, is the best in the NBA coming off a loss. So Miami certainly. The number looks short. It's short for a reason. Angle of the day says, look at the Heat plus the points against the Cavs. OddsLogic.com/Teddy gets you a free 7-day trial for an Odds Logic product. My homepage, WT.buzz/TC. We've got a great deal now. Buy 3 days, get 3 free. We're cooking in the NBA right now. 80% run over the last 5 days. And I'm primed for more. 3-pack. 4 tonight, 1 in MLB, 2 in the NBA. Again, WT.buzz/TC. Or just visit the website, WagerTalk.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow on Thursday. And best of luck with all your bets. Stay tuned right here on this channel for more quality video content. And boy, we appreciate those comments, likes, and follows very, very much. Cheers.